Alright, cash account vs customer account. The cash account is a lot like a customer account. It's meant for retail stores where you have walk-in customers, where you don't necessarily want to keep a separate statement for the customer or necessarily take their details. The one big difference is the cash account must always balance. So as you can see on the statement over here, when I went to cash account, for every invoice there's a receipt, and for every credit note, i.e. a return, there will be a refund. If I go new invoice and create one to the cash account, you can see here it forces you to create a receipt. So let's sell something. I'm going to sell a hammer, and you can leave the top blank if it's a generic customer walking in. You can also enter their details so you have them on record for later, and you can also search for invoices made out to them if you have their details stored over here. So let's say they're buying this hammer by card. Okay, submit. Later I can go to invoices and I can search for all invoices where I've made out the name to James, for example, or I could type his number. Now there may be some invoices where I only typed his name, not his number. So if I search his number over here, there are fewer invoices to show. So you can't really print a statement for that individual customer. So if you want to track an individual customer, it's better to create them as a customer, creating a customer account. So I'm going to create a new customer over here. Let's call him Mark, and we'll give him an email address and a contact number. Alright, now I'm going to create an invoice for Mark. Let's say he's buying a screwdriver set. So I can do that, and we'll say he's also paying by card, and create the invoice and receipt. Right, now the invoice is ready to send to him by email or print, etc. Later a customer comes in, let's just say Mark comes back. You can find out if he already has a customer account by asking for his name, email address, or telephone number. He gives you his number, for example. I can just type it over here. It's important when you're searching not to put the dashes and spaces in, so it searches for the entire number to narrow down the customers, and then I can just click on Mark and create a new invoice for him. So this time he might be buying something else. I'm just going to pick something random over here, a hands drill, and he's paying this time by cash, and create invoice and receipt. That's done, ready to send. And now if I go later, if this customer asks for a statement, I can search over here, Mark, and here's their customer account. I can click on statement, and now there's a statement of all their transactions, what they've purchased, which is ready to email to them or to print. If you're running a retail store, it's also important to note two user permissions over here. You can get to this page as an administrator by going to the admin menu, then to users, and then clicking edit permissions. Then you can see all the users in your company and the permissions they have. These two particular ones are of interest here. First one, sell to customer accounts on account. This basically allows you to sell to a customer and does not force you to create a receipt at the time. So it allows a salesperson to invoice something, and the customer can pay at a later stage. So for lower level sales staff, you may want to turn that permission off if they're not going to sell on account. But if you do have it on, if a customer is able, if a user, a salesperson is able to invoice on account, so the customer can pay later, then have a look at the permission below it, sell on account by default. Now, if that's ticked, it means when you create an invoice for a customer, it doesn't automatically have the block at the bottom to create a receipt. If the salesperson is selling mostly to walk-in customers, you'll want to untick that box so that it has the receipt block over there ready for you to create the receipt along with the invoice.